The holiday season can be a joyous time, but it can also be a time of grief for many who are remembering loved ones who have passed away. Tonight's guest on Community Conversations with Charles Christian is Todd Meierhoffer of Meierhoffer Funeral Home. Charles.
Thank you, Morgan, and Todd, welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you, Charles.
Yeah, and then tell you, your family has had Meierhoffer Funeral Home for a long time. About how many years?
Yes, sir. So our family has been in St. Joseph in the funeral business for 128 years.
Oh my!
And that's 5 generations.
5 generations.
Yes,
so
sir.
You're carrying on that legacy.
Yes, sir.
Tradition.
So my brother and myself have been involved in the family business for the last 25, 30 years respectively. Mm-hmm. And the two of us are partners in the business. My father has been retired for about 7 years, but still involved, and we're very fortunate to have him.
Oh, of course. And we'll talk about then the kind of training and preparation as that business is passed down through the generations, and certainly as you bring on staff to help people in times of loss and grief. What kind of training is involved in
Absolutely.
that process?
So, Charles, you know, first and foremost, I think it's be remiss if I didn't indicate that our staff is the key, and we are so fortunate to have a staff that is caring, who really puts the families that they serve before their own families. Mm-hmm. Our business is a business it's a little bit different than a lot when we think about the fact that we're 7 days a week.
Yeah.
We're 24 hours a day, and we're 365 days a year.
Wow.
So having a staff that is committed to that level is crucial, and I think at the very least we are fortunate to have people that just care and understand detail, and those are 2 very important pieces in our business.
That's great. Well, and speaking of that business, this time of year in particular can be a happy, joyous time, but for those who've lost loved ones, I know it's a great time of grief. What kinds of things are you guys involved in to help people during the holidays?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's very appropriate, and I appreciate you asking that question, because we have multiple opportunities where families can participate in different counseling sessions, not necessarily put on by us, but licensed people that are free of charge, that are hosted at our location. But just coming up here, in fact, I got a cheat if you'll allow me. Sure. On Thursday, December the 8th, will be our 30th holiday remembrance. Right, and that is a time when families that have experienced a loss can come and really hear stories about how important it is to continue to celebrate with their families, even though someone special is missing. And this is open to everyone in the public. Sure. Reservations are not required. If you like to let us know, you can call our office number. But it's for anyone that's experienced a loss within the last year, or we have many families that come that have been coming, for a dozen plus years.
Right, right. Well, that's amazing, and that's a great opportunity to kind of connect with people. And you've talked a lot about the importance of relationship and community connection, especially in the business that you're in. Talk about how that impacts the relationships you build over time.
Well, I'll tell you, that's something that we're very fortunate and blessed with, the fact that we are a business that's been in the family for 128 years. Yeah. We have the luxury of having a father, a grandfather, and previous that have been involved in the community. And that's something that's been instilled in both my brother and myself, and it's something that we've tried to pass on to our staff, and that is to be visible, to be members of our community, to help whether it be a not-for-profit, your church, your school, scouts, any of those type of activities, and it's relationship. And when you have a relationship with people, we know that the hardest day of someone's life is to walk through the doors of our funeral home. Sure. And when you can walk through the doors of our funeral home and have a relationship with someone, that can change the entire experience dramatically. And I think that's something that we're very fortunate to be able to provide at Meierhoffer Funeral Home is it's friendships, it's relationships. We live in this community, we work in this community, and we take care of the people in this community.
That's great. Well, part of that taking care is also, I think, being coming alongside people, of course, who are hurting and who have lost, and advising them at times, right, about sort of very uncomfortable decisions, decisions that no matter how prepared you are, you're really not always prepared. Talk about some things to look out for before we go. Just what do you watch out for if people are making that decision,
Right.
whether with you guys or
Well,
with
I think that is something that is inherent when there's a death, that confusion starts, having family members with you and being present, and something that we have instituted in the last several years in our name. We are a healing farewell center, and yes, we have funeral services, but they are healing farewell services. And it all starts actually at the arrangement conference, where we walk families through the 7 stages of grief.
Okay.
And it is called the acute loss period.
Okay.
And everyone goes through it.
Right.
People do it different ways and at different times. And it is our job to explain this process to the family and their friends. And it is our job to have them understand why they are doing what they're doing, if they're having a gathering, if they're having a service, whether it's religious or otherwise.
Right.
And all those components help with the grief that we all are affected with days, weeks, and months after.
Right.
And it is a process, and we all do it differently, but that's something that we try to provide at our funeral home, is to provide and tailor it to the family's needs, not necessarily what we all think of as a funeral,
Sure.
but in everybody's mind, it's something. It can mean something different, but we have to be able to provide the way that helps a family heal.
That's great. Well, Todd Meierhoffer with Meierhoffer Funeral Home, we thank you for being our guest tonight, and folks can find more information on the website
Yes.
as well.
Yep.
And we thank you for tuning in for Community Conversations. We'll have more news after the break.